What do you say, guys? It's Joe, and I'm out chasing Bigfoot. Alright, we're in a different part of the state here today. We're back up on top of a mountain and a little trail through here. And we're looking for Bigfoot. Just going to walk along a little bit here, maybe see a little something. Who knows? Pretty up in here, though. Kind of cold today. If you don't mind the cold, it ain't too bad, I guess. I guess once I get to walking a little bit, it won't be too awful cold. There have been some reports of some Bigfoot back up in here over the years. But who knows? Yeah, these were some old logging trails back in the day. They come in and cut timber back in the 1800s off all this. And I guess they had, at one point, had train tracks in here, maybe, I don't know. But it's pretty overgrown nowadays. Pretty much, anyway. I'm going to find us a spot to sit down. I'm going to do. Yeah, that's how steep it is where I'm at. That is straight down right there. I mean straight down. I'll fall over that. There's nobody here with me. Nobody knew where in the world I went to. I'd just be gone though. Until someday somebody stumbled up on my bones down there. But kind of thick in here. Pretty much a straight drop off over that right there. You couldn't walk back up that if you tried. I don't know how in the world those guys timbered all this. I guess there may be a ledge down below that. They dropped the trees here and went down below and picked them up. I'm not sure, but you're probably, well, there's a river down there. I would say you're probably 2,500 feet, 3,000 feet above that river. I'd say they may have pulled them down. I don't know. This could be a wagon trail for all I know. But definitely pretty out here. Absolutely gorgeous. Wind coming up out of that river is cold. And cold air settles in down low during the night. Now that the sun's out, it's forcing the cold air up over this mountain right here. It is cold today. The sun's out, but it's still chilly. Definitely pretty though. I'll find us a place here in a little bit and have a seat. Everything's soaking wet. It rained yesterday all day. So who knows? Maybe I'll finally get a dry spot. Find a rock that ain't got a bunch of moss on it, maybe. Thing about it, at least the leaves ain't real noisy today. I don't think I can sneak up on anything, but at least I don't sound like I heard an elephant comes through the woods. So let's walk over through here and see if we can find us an area to sit down. Maybe on one of these bent over laurel trees here or something, maybe. Definitely pretty out here. This is high up off the river we are. You can kind of see it down there, and we're maybe not quite as high as over there on top of that side, but pretty close. Over there where that a bunch of pine trees are on that point. I camp not far from there. So, beautiful out today. That wind is cold coming off of that river. I mean, there's no guardrail, nothing right here. You fall over that, you ain't coming back, buddy. Yep, straight down. You can't really find an area to sit down in. I thought maybe I could find a rock out here somewhere, but I don't see any rocks. There's plenty of cliffs, but I don't want to sit on no cliff. Not today. Ease up through the bushes right here. This is not really a trail, but we can ease up through the bushes and see what this is up in here maybe. Oh, she fell down, break the camera. Nice little point right here on the edge of the cliff. Yep, pretty much straight down. Yep, pretty much. What kind of creatures live in this bunch of laurel right here? I imagine there's all kinds of squirrels live in here. I know that the deer eats laurel some, when everything else gets hard to come by, but they don't eat it regular, but they will eat it. I've seen places where they chewed it off before. When I was a kid, we had probably a 3-foot snow. And obviously the rabbits was having a hard time. And I seen bark chewed off of pine trees. And where the snow was, they'd eat the bark off 3 foot up the tree. Killed some of them, eat all the way around. But I seen snow rollers when I was a kid too. I only seen those one time. Probably the same winter. But basically a snow roller is when a little grain of snow picks up when the wind blows, and it blows the snow to where it looks almost like a cream horn. It just rolls it up into almost a cream horn shape. Kinda neat. Like I've seen it one time in my life. Snow has to be just right and the wind has to be blowing. And just one time in my life is all I ever seen it. I think we're going to pass on that trail today there. It looks kind of slick. Maybe another day. Be a good path if you had somebody with you. Tammy don't even know where I'm at. I just left this morning. So, here I am. I work early mornings and I get home around 7 and I didn't even tell her what I was going to do today. I just left. She's at work. She's actually my boss at work. So, she won't be off till later this evening. I got all day to mess around up here. So we're going to try this for a while anyway. Definitely a pretty walk through here. I'd walked this before back years ago when I was young. I'm no longer young. At 62, this is a pretty good trick for me. Even though I walk every day, still yet. I don't know that I'm going to see anything out here, any kind of sign or anything. It's too hard yet for tracks. No snow on the ground. I haven't seen any kind of tree structures. So. I see we started way over on that point behind that tree where we started at. We've come all this way. I went off this morning and forgot my camera mount. I'm having to hold the camera by hand. And I got carpal tunnel, so I may drop the camera at any moment. Not that I'm live or anything anyway. I'm going to edit all this, but still yet. I may drop it. Check out this point here. Cliff over there. And a cliff over there. And you walk out through these little bushes right here. Come out to a point. I don't want to fall over that, that's for sure. It is a long ways down. But if you can squeeze right through here like this, maybe. Old and fat, that's a problem. Check that out. I mean, it is straight down, buddy. Straight over. Alright, let's see if we can work our way back through all this mess right here without fall on some of this wet stuff. There we go, we made it, I think. Plenty of stuff to hang on to, so it ain't like it's super dangerous, but it ain't great. Especially for an old feller. I wouldn't recommend this to most folks my age, but I'm still fairly sure-footed for an old guy. I've had a couple of strokes, several heart attacks. I've had bypass surgery. I've had stents a couple of times, and I've had my fair share of problems, but at this point in time, I'm doing all right. There's what you're walking on top of, a big cliff right there. That's how far it is over the edge of it. I'd say several hundred feet down there. Something knocked the leaves around here. Wasn't me, I haven't stepped this far yet. I don't see any tracks. They're on top of a rock. Yeah, slipped his foot. That's old. Some kind of a fence at one point, I'd say. Maybe a log house. I don't know. Definitely hewn by hand, though. Not a chainsaw, I wouldn't think. Huh. Too small to be a house, I think. Kind of neat, though. But you could spend all day walking these trails and all the little offshoots. Never see the same one twice. The thing about this area is if there is a Bigfoot, he ain't going down over that. Just like I'm not going down over that. Unless I absolutely fall. Now I might have to, but if I don't fall, I ain't going over that. Bigfoot's not either. So you know where he's going to be at? On this trail right here. And there's entirely way too much area for him not to be here. So, even though it's a national park and there's visitors in here, you know, there's not a lot of visitors. I've only seen one person today, maybe two today back in here. Precious few. So, but the ground's just too hard yet to see any kind of tracks. Too many leaves on, too hard. Maybe later on this spring, after the freeze in the fall, maybe. Right now we're not going to. So far I've not seen any garbage out here. Seems to be fairly well maintained. I guess people picking their garbage up as they leave or whatever, maybe. But who knows? So you don't see any tracks. I'm gonna step right there. You really can't even see my track. I'm 230 pounds, you don't see my track. I've not heard anything. I'm not seeing anything today. Not even so much as a tree knock. Usually when I'm in the woods I hear a tree knock, but not today. Maybe this park's not the best place at this point in time. I needed to get out and clear my head away from home for a while, so here I am. Shame it ain't dry. I'd like to sit here and watch that bottom right there. That's probably 300 feet down there to that. Maybe some type of trail. Can't tell for sure from here. I don't have about 15% left in my battery, so my battery's going to go dead pretty quick here, so this may be the last video. I'm not sure. Maybe not. We'll see. Seems to me like from here on out it gets really, really narrow. More of a goat path than it is a trail. Best I remember. It's been a long time since I've been here, but it's just going by memory anyway. Of course, I guess depending on where you're from, a goat path could have been what we've been on so far. It just gets kind of narrow. We're going to slow down just a little bit. We don't want to tumble over that at all. Even if you managed to grab onto something, you couldn't hang on to it very long. I don't think you'd be rescued. You'd never climb back up that. No wet leaves. Check that out, guys. Very pretty. I think I see a cave down there. Not sure if I could get to that, but I'd like to check that out someday. Not today, but someday. Okay guys, we're getting really low on battery. Like 7%. Won't last another minute or so. So I'm going to get on out of here and find my way back to the car. So anyway, appreciate you guys walking with me, and let's go find Bigfoot. Ain't quite as steep through here. You might go walk back up that. Hey guys, made it back to the car. It was a nice trail, nice trip. Got back to the car, my phone was dead, so I was close out there. I wasn't quite to the end of that trail, but it's a beautiful walk from there on out. But anyway, we're back to the blue streak here, and we're gonna head home and edit this video and get it out for you guys to watch. All right, well, enjoy your day, and like I said before, let's go find Bigfoot.